Myron Rolle was once named on a list of the smartest athletes. Now he'd probably top a list of most athletic neurosurgeons. As a former NFL safety turned doctor, Myron is a man who achieved his dream twice, and he says he's been able to do it 2% at a time.
Dr. Myron Rolle has led a remarkable life as a former NFL safety, a Rhodes Scholar, and a neurosurgery resident at Harvard, Massachusetts General Hospital. He credits his amazing success to a deep faith in God, a strong work ethic, and a simple philosophy. In the 2% way, Myron reveals how you can overcome obstacles and build a life of purpose and meaning by making small strides each day to reach your goal.
All right, well, Dr. Myron Rolle is here with us now. Welcome, Dr. Myron, to the 700 Club.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. Well, you had two dreams: play in the NFL and become a neurosurgeon, which I have to admit, not a lot of people have those dreams. Where did they come from?
Well, you know, my family's from the Bahamas, and my parents wanted me and my older brothers to have, you know, some remarkable role models in front of us when we started over in this country, in America. And they put someone like Ben Carson in front of me. I read his story in the 5th grade called Gifted Hands, and he planted the seed of neurosurgery. Someone who was so inspirational, someone who separated two conjoined twins who were connected at the back of their head, and both of those kids lived. I just saw his career and his talent to be remarkable. So he became my academic hero. And I was also very good at football at the same time. So I had two of these parallel goals sort of coexisting in my body. And thankfully, once I was done playing football, I was able to seamlessly transition into medicine, into neurosurgery, to have an impact like Dr. Carson has had on many people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go back to your childhood. What happened to you at the age of 10? You mentioned this situation in your book, and how did that change you?
Well, it was a very difficult situation. When I was 10 years old, I had a bit of a temper. You know, my parents and my coaches and teachers would tell me, you know, Myron, if you do well in school and you do well in football, that's good. And I said, okay, that's all I need to do. And my behavior could be a little bit untoward. I guess this was my perspective or my interpretation of what they were telling me. So I often allowed my temper, my anger, my frustration to get the better of me. And one day, a young person, non-Black, who called me the N-word, a racial epithet, called my mother the B-word. I saw red. I beat him up very badly. Unfortunately, he had to go to the hospital for his injuries. He took me and my family to court in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I remember standing in front of this judge in Atlantic City as a 10-year-old with my Sunday best on, listening to this gentleman admonish me for what I did. And I turned around and saw my mother's face and my father's face, disappointment. They were just saddened by me, their last child, putting them in this precarious situation. Thankfully, by the grace of God, community advocates, a good lawyer, I was able to shake that young man's hand, apologize, do a little bit of community service. But at that point, I think I made the pivot, the transition into allowing my anger and behavior to stop me and prohibit me from reaching my goals and being successful. I gave my life to Christ. About a month later, I started joining the school band. I ran for school president. I played Fiddler on the Roof as Tevye to try to sing and dance in our school musical. I was trying to do everything I could to be different than what my behavior was leading me to.
Well, you also faced criticism for pursuing academics while playing football. Did you ever feel like you should be focusing on one over the other?
It's a great question. You know, I kind of always felt that football and academics, they fed and they intertwined in my life, and they sort of helped each other. I thought I was a better student because I learned the competitiveness of football. I learned how to get through tough times. I learned how to work with team and to communicate and overcome adversity and to become coachable. I thought I was a better athlete because as a student, I was able to meticulously prepare and see the nuanced details of what could make me a better football player by looking at, you know, a player's body language and seeing their disposition and seeing they're going to run this way instead of that way. That helped me. And so I always sort of had these two goals and these two roads existing in my life. And I took each step 2% at a time. I write about it in my book, just small steps every day to make sure that I felt balanced even when football and academics seemed to collide. I just tried to make them feel on rhythm for me, and thankfully it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once you were in Harvard Medical School, you were a third-year resident at Harvard Medical. You had another just incident of racism. How did you handle that? How was that different from when you were 10 years old?
Oh, yeah. So it was much different. You know, a 10-year-old Myron would have reacted, with anger and violence. But 33, 32-year-old Myron, now a neurosurgeon at Harvard, one of the best institutions in the world, being able to operate on people's brains and have that opportunity to help save lives, it was a fortuitous moment for me. So it was a gentleman who was at our hospital, and his brother actually called me again the N-word in front of my face, in front of our nurse who was also caring for his brother.
Wow.
At that point, the nurse apologized to me and asked me if I was okay. I said yes, I'm all right. I sort of calmed down, took a few heartbeats, went back to the 2% weight process. How do I block out the background noise and just focus on trying to get a little bit better through this? I said, if I could operate on this man and I could hopefully save his life, when he wakes up from anesthesia, he'll see me in my body saving his life. He'll say, you know what, I have a different perspective of people who look like you, and thank you for saving my life. So I took the 2% weight process, just taking little small steps to try to make sure that I'm in position to do my job as a neurosurgeon, to hopefully save this man's life, which we did. The outcome went very well, and maybe changes him and his family's perspective going forward.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for doing that. I know it changed his life and a lot of other people's lives. Well, last question, Myron. What do you want people to take away from your book?
Well, I want them to take away the idea that sometimes there could be challenges or obstacles that seem very daunting, very large, very big. But if we just take small steps, the small little wins, and stack those wins every single day, we can make progress a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, and feel good about it. You know, we have this limbic lobe in our brain that releases neurotransmitters is an excitatory process. It makes us feel good. It's a reward pathway that we have. And if we can activate that every day just to feel that we've moved a little bit forward, then I think we're moving and we're doing better, and we're accomplishing our goals, and in the process, uplifting other people. So hopefully people resonate with this story, resonate with some of the self-doubt, uncertainty, challenges that I've had to face in life, and how this simplified step and system process can help make you a better version of yourself. We're excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. We're excited too, and you're such an inspiration. Thank you for sharing your story. And you can learn more about Myron and his amazing journey in his new book. It's called The 2% Way, and it's available nationwide. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Myron Rolle.
Thank you very much for having me.